The first student disappeared during finals week of my freshman year. The faculty called it a voluntary withdrawal, but we all saw the bloodstains they couldn't completely scrub from the lecture hall floor. By sophomore year, I'd learned to recognize the metallic scent of fear, distinct from the usual library bouquet of sweat, instant ramen, and desperation. Tonight, that scent is overwhelming. I weave through the maze of students hunched over textbooks, their faces illuminated by flickering fluorescent lights that cast everyone in the sickly pallor of the damned. Some rock back and forth, muttering formulas and theories. Others stare blankly at pages, information no longer registering. In the corner, a girl silently braids and unbraids her hair, over and over, fingertips raw and bleeding. After 4 hours studying dark psychology, my vision blurs. Every paragraph seems to whisper secrets about manipulating the human mind toward violence. Time for a break before I join the ranks of the library's hollow-eyed ghosts. Outside, the desert night air hits my lungs like salvation, crisp, cold, and clarifying. The stars here are unnervingly bright, mapping constellations I've never seen in civilian skies. I unwrap a fresh pack of cigarettes, one of the few vices permitted at this nameless institution, and tap one out. As I bring the flame to the tip, the metal door behind me bursts open with a bang that sends my heart racing. My cigarette tumbles to the ground as a blonde kid drops to his knees, violently emptying his stomach onto the frost-tipped grass. "You owe me a cigarette," I say when his retching subsides, trying to inject normalcy into a place where nothing is normal. "What?" he gasps, wiping bile from his chin with a trembling hand. I help him to his feet, supporting his quivering body against the wall. His skin burns fever-hot through his thin t-shirt. "I'm kidding. You all right?" After lighting another cigarette for myself, I offer it to him. He hesitates before accepting, fingers brushing mine. The first human contact I've had in weeks that wasn't a professor correcting my stance or a sparring partner trying to break my arm. "Max?" He introduces himself between coughs, smoke escaping his nose like a dragon's breath. "Freshman, just turned 19. "Senior," I reply, watching the ember pulse like a tiny heartbeat. "Graduating tomorrow if this exam goes well." "I wanted to go to Harvard," he says, his voice small against the vastness of the night sky. I almost laugh. We all did. But our test scores had opened an invitation to somewhere supposedly better, a university so elite its existence remains unknown to 99.9% of the world. The recruitment package showed gleaming laboratories, renowned professors, and alumni who had changed history from the shadows. Only after acceptance did we learn the truth. 4 years in an isolated campus risen from desert sand. No breaks, no outside contact, no electronics. Just ruthless education and 2 exams per year where failure isn't an option. No one tells you what happens to the failures. No one has to. Max accepts a second cigarette without protest, his hands steadier now. "Tell you the truth," I say, watching his face carefully. "The nausea never stops. You just learn to aim for the toilet." The ghost of a smile flickers across his face. "Does it get easier?" "No," I answer honestly. "It gets worse, but you get stronger." We exchange numbers before parting. He asks if we can study together. "Sorry," I shake my head. "I prefer to study alone. Good luck." What I don't tell him: companionship is weakness here. Weakness gets you killed. The morning of the exam, I find myself painting my bathroom porcelain with last night's dinner. Sleep had abandoned me days ago, replaced by caffeine-fueled hallucinations that lurk in my peripheral vision. Max had texted late. We'd studied briefly, but mostly he'd vented about the university. "If I'd known what this place really was," he'd said, "I never would have come." I couldn't judge him for that. None of us knew what we were signing up for when we boarded those international flights, took those long bus rides, and found ourselves in a small city sprouting from miles of wasteland. The educators had made it clear from day one, no leaving until graduation or failure, and nobody wanted to know what failure meant. I stare at my reflection, hollowed cheeks, dark circles, eyes that have seen too much. 4 years ago, I was a high school valedictorian with dreams. Now I'm something else entirely. I arrive at the exam building to find Max sitting cross-legged on the sidewalk, frantically flipping through notes. His eyes are bloodshot, hair unwashed. When the doors open, he looks up at me with desperate hope. "We got this, right?" he asks. "We got this." We file into the auditorium and take seats near the back. The room hums with tension thick enough to choke on. Once everyone is settled, the educators take positions at each exit, their tailored black suits immaculate, their expressions unreadable behind mirrored sunglasses. Someone begins banging frantically on the locked doors, begging to be let in. A latecomer. The room remains deathly still, not a single student turning toward the sound. We've all been conditioned too well. An educator takes the stage, microphone in hand. His smile is wrong, like he's savoring a cruel secret. "Congratulations, you've arrived at your final exam of the year." His voice tastes each word before releasing it. "We hope you all studied hard. As some upperclassmen may have noticed, this semester's curriculum has diverged from previous years." Murmurs ripple through the room. This term had been unusual. Only one subject, one textbook, dark psychology. Previous years had covered everything from dead languages to cancer as biological warfare. "The north wind created the Vikings," the educator continues. "Adaptability under unknown and extreme circumstances. This is the trait most valuable to the futures waiting for you." His excitement is palpable, shifting from foot to foot like a child with a secret. "We'll begin our exam now. There is no need for pens or pencils. You may stand, walk around, and as always, you may not leave the room. But first, please check beneath your seat for your test materials." Confusion ripples through the room. Max reaches under his seat and comes up empty-handed. I lean forward, my fingers brushing something cold and metallic. With nauseating certainty, I pull a black 9mm handgun into view, familiar from our weapons training courses. "Under every few seats we've placed a decision maker," the educator announces over the gasps. "Those who possess one, look to your neighbors. Yes, yes, left then right. Study their faces, hear their arguments, then make your decision." The implication crashes down like a guillotine. My mouth goes dry as desert sand. A tap on my shoulder. I turn to see a guy with a flat nose and intense dark eyes studying me. "Jacob," he says, extending his hand. "It's my last year. Last test, actually. I'm looking forward to going home, seeing my family. I've got a little sister waiting for me." From my left, "Max." "I'm Max. I'm a freshman, and it was my birthday recently. I want to live. Please. I didn't even know what I was signing up for." My vision darkens at the edges. I stand and climb over the rows of seats until I reach the back wall, needing distance from what I'm being asked to do. The weight of the gun feels impossibly heavy. Jacob reaches me first, grabs my arm. "I'm not asking you to..." A sharp crack echoes through the room. Nearby, a petite girl has dropped her gun. One of the two boys beside her calmly picks it up and fires point blank into the other's face. Blood explodes from the back of his skull like a crimson halo. The shooter turns to the nearest educator, eyes vacant. "It's over, right?" The educator nods and steps aside. The boy exits without looking back at the body being efficiently cleared away by staff in hazmat suits, who seem to materialize from nowhere. "Our first decision has been made," announces the educator from the stage, voice tinged with satisfaction. Another gunshot rings out elsewhere in the room, and the second. Jacob's grip tightens on my arm. "Give it to me," he demands. "You don't have to do anything. I'll do it for you." His open palm waits for the gun that will guarantee his survival. Suddenly I'm on the floor, jaw throbbing. My vision blurs as Jacob scrabbles for the gun that's fallen from my hand. He's pointing it between my eyes when Max slams into him like a freight train. The pistol skitters across the floor. They grapple, Max momentarily pinning Jacob before being thrown off. Jacob reaches the gun first, aims at Max's huddled form. The gun clicks, jammed. Jacob inspects it frantically, just long enough for me to deliver a clumsy punch. He staggers backward, confusion crossing his face. Max is faster. He brings the butt of the gun down on Jacob's forehead with sickening force. Again and again and again, until Jacob's skull caves beneath the weight of Max's desperate survival instinct. Blood sprays across Max's face like war paint, marking him as something new. "Oh," Max whispers, looking down at his crimson hands. "What the fuck? What the fuck?" "Bravo!" The educator's voice cuts through the horror. "An excellent demonstration of adaptability." I pull Max away from the carnage, guiding him out through the exit that's now open to us. We've passed the test. We sit in silence on a grassy hill, watching clouds drift across the blue canvas above us. Occasionally, the sounds of what might be gunshots drift from beyond the hill, but we don't flinch anymore. The world feels unreal, too beautiful, too normal after what we've just done. "I killed him," Max finally says, voice hollow. "I didn't think I could, but when it was him or me..." "Don't," I reply. "You kept us alive. That's all that matters here." That night, we feast at the only restaurant on campus. Max orders 3 entrees before asking for the dessert menu, eating like a man who's discovered the value of life. When the waiter asks about splitting the check, Max smiles. "It's on him," he says, and I nod. Later, outside his dorm, we shake hands, a firm grip between survivors. I'll be leaving tomorrow. Graduates board a bus to the airport and then home, whatever that means now. Max has 3 more years. 3 more years of tests designed to break him down and rebuild him into something else. "What will you do?" he asks. "After?" I shrug. The educators say our careers are already written for us. What I don't tell him is what I've pieced together over 4 years. This isn't a university but a forge, hammering out weapons in human form. The calculated violence, the psychological manipulation, the ruthless weeding out of the weak. They're creating something else entirely. Something that can make impossible choices. Something that follows orders without question. I've seen the black government vehicles that arrive each graduation day. As I walk away, I feel Max watching me. He doesn't know yet that next year, he'll be the one holding the gun. That his survival today has marked him as promising material. That the true test isn't passing the exam, but what the exam turns you into. The future waiting for us is impatient. We are its decision makers, its executioners, its necessary monsters. I light a cigarette and inhale deeply, tasting freedom that feels like ash in my mouth. Tomorrow I graduate into service I never consented to, carrying skills I never wanted. But at least I taught Max how to aim for the toilet. In this place, that counts as kindness. Maybe that's the last shred of humanity they couldn't beat out of me.